Welcome to Reddit Echoes, where real-life stories are more than mere experiences. They are ballads of emotion, inner battles few dare to confess. In today's video, I'll share a tale that carries not only pain and loss, but also a journey to rediscover love, understanding, and hope. It is the story of a father, a husband, a man striving to preserve the memories of his late wife, while his present love, Wendy, slowly becomes the greatest challenge he must confront. When past and present collide, conflicting emotions erupt, making everything more complicated than ever. Join me as we step into their world, feel every pang, every conflict, and every agonizing yet hopeful moment along their path toward harmony in love and life. Story 1. I rescued an abandoned kitten and discovered my neighbor's horrifying secret. A tear-filled battle and merciless revenge. I remember with perfect clarity the day I found Gigi, that poor little kitten, shivering alone by the roadside. She was so tiny, only a few months old, so thin and frail that my heart felt like it would shatter at the sight of her. I simply couldn't walk away, couldn't let a living creature lie there and waste away. So I decided to take her home. At first I thought Gigi might just be a lost cat, or even one that had been dumped. I posted flyers all over the neighborhood and put notices on missing pet forums. No one called, no one claimed her. Honestly, it was clear she'd been abandoned for quite some time. I took Gigi to the vet, did everything necessary. Vaccinations, microchipping, then spaying when she was old enough. Gradually, she grew stronger, her fur glossier. There was something odd, though I'd assumed she might be a Russian blue with that sleek blue-gray coat. But as she got bigger, the stripes on her back never faded the way people said they should, so I abandoned that theory. While I was busy loving and caring for Gigi, I happened to scroll past a fiery post on our neighborhood forum. A neighbor named Daisy, whom I'll call the furious neighbor in this story, was foaming at the mouth online, accusing another woman, Karen, of cruelty. Karen happens to live next door to me and breeds Russian blue cats for sale. According to Daisy, a long-running Cold War was brewing between them. Daisy often fed stray cats in her front yard, while Karen despised it, afraid it would ruin her business. One day, Daisy heard screams and banging from Karen's house. She rushed outside and saw Karen chasing a tabby cat as if it were an enemy, thrashing at it with a broom. Daisy objected. The two of them hurled insults at each other. But that was only the beginning of the horrors to come. A few months later, there was more chaos, and this time Daisy witnessed Karen carrying a box out of her house and secretly dumping it in some bushes nearby. When Daisy opened the box, she found a pile of kittens, tiny ones injured, some with broken tails, others with damaged ribs. Furious, she rescued the surviving kittens and decided to confront Karen head-on. The argument that followed wasn't just about who was right or wrong. It ripped the mask off sheer cruelty and selfishness. Karen blamed Daisy, saying that feeding strays had led her purebred cats to mate with ferals, ruining her ability to sell pure kittens and costing her thousands of dollars. Daisy, in turn, blasted Karen online for animal abuse and whipped the whole community into an uproar. In the end, Karen lost her reputation and her breeding business, while Daisy kept warning everyone so the story wouldn't be forgotten. I don't know if Gigi was one of those kittens, but the timing and coincidences are impossible to ignore. I hope Karen has to face real justice for her brutal actions. This story isn't just about one little cat. It's about the triumph of kindness and justice over inhuman cruelty. A deeper look at the emotions and dialogue. I still recall the instant I first saw Gigi. My heart clenched. I'd never kept a cat before, but from that first glance, I felt that fragile life needed protection. I told myself I can't ignore her. I have to save her. One day, while I was in my yard, I heard furious shouting from Karen's house. I ran over to see what was happening and witnessed a horrifying sight. Karen was chasing a tabby cat, broom in hand, her face red enough to burst. I yelled, "Karen, stop. Why are you doing that to her?" She spun around, eyes ice cold. "That's not your cat. It ruined my stock. I won't let this slide. The tension escalated and I knew I had to act. Story 2. The wheelchair showdown and the inconsiderate driver. When patience is pushed to the breaking point. My name is Alex and I use a wheelchair because of postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, POTS. If you're unfamiliar with POTS, it's a condition that makes my heart rate spike whenever I stand up or sit fully upright, leaving me dizzy and at risk of fainting at any moment. Mobility is never simple for me. Every part of daily life has to be carefully planned. That day, after a long shift at work, I got home exhausted and just wanted to head inside and rest. But as soon as I got out of my car, my way was blocked by a vehicle parked smack in the no parking zone, the area reserved for fire access and people with disabilities. I looked around for another spot, but there wasn't a single space left. Forced to leave my wheelchair inside my car, I pulled out my phone and snapped a photo of the offending vehicle. My landlord had told me, "Whenever you see that car parked there, just take a picture and send it to me." So that's exactly what I did. Just as I was about to go inside, the driver appeared. She charged toward me, shouting in a hostile, furious voice, "Who are you to photograph my car? Get the hell away from me." I tried to stay calm and replied softly, "Please park in the designated area. I have a disabled parking permit and need the space clear." She wouldn't listen. She stepped right up to me, abruptly grabbed my throat, and started punching. I tried to fight back, but my condition left me weak. Thankfully, neighbors and my roommate heard the commotion and rushed over to intervene. The police were called. When they arrived, they discovered the woman's car was stolen uninsured, and she had no valid driver's license. Inside her home, officers found multiple syringes, a stolen firearm, and her 8-year-old daughter living in extremely dangerous conditions. I was hospitalized for my injuries, and the woman was arrested on several serious charges, including assault and illegal weapons possession. Mindset and dialogue. When she barreled toward me, my heart pounded chaotically, and my breathing grew labored. Unbelievable, I thought. I just want a peaceful life, but even that's too much to ask. As she clamped her hand around my throat, I wanted to scream, yet I barely had the strength. "Please stop. I haven't done anything wrong." I managed to choke out, but she seemed completely out of control. When the police finally arrived, I breathed a huge sigh of relief, like I'd been given a second chance at life. Closing reflection. This ordeal reminded me that life isn't always fair, but perseverance and standing up for yourself are essential. I hope my experience serves as a wake-up call for anyone who still doesn't grasp how crucial it is to respect others, especially those living with special circumstances. Story 3. When my relationship advice caused a breakup. The price of truth and responsibility. I'm a middle-aged father with 2 sons and 1 daughter. I'm not the kind of dad who hands out classroom-style lectures, but I always try to teach my children how to love and how to respect others. Recently, I went through something that still tastes bitter whenever I think about it. A bit of relationship advice I gave my youngest son accidentally got my eldest son dumped by his girlfriend. How it began. It all started at my youngest son's birthday party. He'd just stepped into his early teen years. He and I sat at the table eating cake while I shared a few things I felt were important about love, respect, and honesty in relationships. Son, in love, the most important thing is to respect each other's feelings. Even when you disagree, never belittle the other person's emotions, I said. "Okay, Dad," he answered, eyes fixed on me. "One more thing," I continued, "if you're wrong, admit it and apologize no matter how right you think you are. And you know when she's comfortable enough to, well, let out a little fart in front of you, that's when you'll know you're truly close." My kid burst out laughing, eyes sparkling with innocence. Little conversations in the living room. Across the room, my daughter and my eldest son's girlfriend, well, now ex-girlfriend, were playing video games. My daughter occasionally chimed into our chat with comments about date spots and do's and don'ts during outings. The girlfriend, usually lively and generous, was unusually quiet that day. My eldest son dropped by the party, hung around for a bit, and then left. The blow-up. A few days later, I got an angry phone call from my eldest. "Dad," he shouted, "she and I just broke up. And it all started with what you said to my little brother at the birthday party." I was stunned, clueless about what had happened. After a long explanation, he told me his girlfriend felt disrespected, ignored, like he never listened to her. She even said he was too old-fashioned and didn't understand modern love. Owning my mistake. I knew I was at fault, but not because of the advice I'd given the younger boy, rather, because I hadn't spent enough time teaching my older son. I told him, "Son, I'm truly sorry. Maybe I haven't talked with you enough about how to behave and show respect in a relationship. But I know you can change, learn, and become a better partner." My eldest fell silent. His voice softened. "Dad, I know you didn't mean to ruin things for me, but now it feels hard to fix." Inside the characters' minds. A heavy sense of responsibility settled on my shoulders, one I'd apparently neglected for far too long. I realized that fatherhood isn't just about telling kids how to live. It's about patience, empathy, and guiding them step by step, especially through the complicated realm of love. The youngest is still too young to grasp all those complexities, but the eldest now stands at a crossroads full of challenges. Dialogue with my daughter and the ex-girlfriend. My daughter, who loves her brother dearly, was just as sad. She shared, "He used to be so cheerful and generous, but I feel like he isn't the person I knew anymore. Maybe there's a lot he still doesn't understand about me or our relationship." The ex-girlfriend added, "I don't think breaking up is the only answer, but maybe we need time apart to figure ourselves out." An open ending. I don't know where this will lead, but I'm determined to do everything I can to help my children through this difficult patch. I hope you'll also reflect on how you treat the ones you love, because sometimes words that seem harmless can inflict deep wounds. Story 4: Loss and Wounds. When a spouse disrespects the memories of the past. I am a man who has weathered many ups and downs in life, especially after my wife Chloe passed away in a horrific accident. She was the great love of my life and an amazing mother to our daughter, Eleanor. We once promised each other to keep all the videotapes that documented Chloe's pregnancy journey, so that one day when Eleanor was old enough she could watch them and understand the love and anticipation her mother had for her. An unforgettable memory. Back then, Chloe and I recorded countless small clips, from simple moments like eating and joking around to tender whispers meant for the baby in her belly. Every time I rewatch them, I feel our family's warmth and vitality all over again, a life snuffed out in an instant. When Chloe died, I fell into an abyss of grief. Raising Eleanor alone was never easy, but those tapes remained the thread that connected us to her late mother. The arrival of Wendy. The new woman life moved on, and I met Wendy, a kind woman who had faced her own hardships. She didn't mind that I already had a child and was willing to become part of our family. We married after 2 years of dating, and everything seemed to be on the right track. Deep inside, though, one thing never faded: my memories and love for Chloe. That created a subtle yet indelible distance between Wendy and me. Unspoken words. Wendy's insecurity. One time, while I was talking about Chloe and the plan for Eleanor's 18th birthday, I noticed a change in Wendy's eyes. She was no longer at ease and seemed threatened by the shadow of the past. "I know you loved Chloe very much, and I don't want to replace her," Wendy said hesitantly. "I understand, but don't let that affect us. You're also the woman I love," I tried to reassure her. But those words couldn't erase her unease, and I felt caught between past and present. An unexpected blow. One day, when I went to retrieve the tapes to prepare them for Eleanor, I discovered they were gone. I asked Wendy, and she calmly said she had thrown them away. I couldn't take it anymore. "You talk about her too much. I thought this was the best way for us to start a new chapter," Wendy replied coldly. My heart shattered. Those memories weren't just physical objects. They were the soul and the only bridge between Eleanor and her mother. A fierce argument. We had a heated argument, hurling words that laid bare our pain without mercy. You had no right to decide for me and Eleanor. Those memories mean the world to us, I shouted, furious and devastated. You're forever stuck in the past. I want to live for our present and future, Wendy retorted. The fight ended in icy silence. In the days that followed, we spoke little, and the atmosphere grew unbearably tense. Loneliness inside my own home. I began avoiding Wendy, quietly living with my grief and loss. Eleanor sometimes cried because she didn't know more about her mother, and I felt powerless. Friends and family urged me to forgive and reconcile, but some wounds cannot be healed by words alone. Talking to myself. At times I wondered, should I let the past overshadow the present? Is there a way for Wendy and Eleanor to feel loved without hurting the memory of Chloe? I know that whatever happens, love is about tolerance and understanding. But do we have enough strength to overcome these fractures? An open ending. I share this story not to blame anyone, but to remind us that each of us carries our own scars. Marriage and family should be places where we share and heal together. If you've experienced something similar or have advice that might help Wendy and me, I would love to hear it. Story 5. When the past becomes a ghost in marriage. My journey with Wendy. I still remember the very first day I met Wendy. She was an approachable woman with a warm heart who had also endured her share of pain. When we decided to build a life together, I believed every wound from our pasts could be healed with love and sincerity. Reality, however, was not so simple. The first frictions. From the start, I told Wendy about the memories and love I still held for my late wife, Chloe. I never meant to compare them or hurt her. I simply wanted Eleanor, my daughter, to know her mother through those old videotapes. The first time I brought it up, Wendy looked at me with slightly sad eyes. "Are you sure I can handle this? You still love her so much?" I smiled, trying to soothe her. "I love you, Wendy. I don't want you to think I'm comparing you or putting you at a disadvantage." A heavy conversation. One evening, I sat down with Wendy for a frank talk. You know, those tapes aren't just footage. They're our memories, the love Chloe and I had for Eleanor. Wendy was silent for a moment, then said, "Do you know how it feels to stand beside the ghost of your past? Every time you talk about her, I feel pushed farther away." I took her hand, looking into her eyes with sincerity. "I never want you to feel that way. I just want us to preserve those memories for Eleanor together." She burst into tears. Hurt flooded her voice. "I want to be the only woman in your life, but the past feels like a wall between us." The major crisis. Things grew worse when one day I discovered the precious tapes were gone. "What did you do with those videos?" I asked Wendy. She answered calmly, "I couldn't take it anymore. I thought we needed a fresh start without Chloe's shadow." I was stunned. "You can't decide that on your own. Those memories belong to our daughter, our family," Wendy replied coldly. "You only care about the past. I'm living for the present and our future." We argued fiercely, bitter words landing like blows we couldn't control. Emotions and temporary separation. After the fight, I felt empty, haunted by betrayal. Wendy left for a few days. We existed in separate worlds. Alone, I stared at a photo of Chloe and Eleanor, wondering whether love could truly heal every wound. A conversation that changed our fate. One morning, Wendy approached me, voice full of remorse. "I'm sorry. I was wrong to throw away our memories. I was just afraid of losing you, afraid I wasn't important enough." I smiled and gently embraced her. "I'm sorry, too, for not understanding your feelings. Let's move forward together and not let past or present tear us apart." We began opening up more, searching for a balance between honoring memories and building the future. The healing journey. I decided to back up the videos, and together with Wendy, I created a photo album recounting Chloe's and Eleanor's story, helping Wendy feel she was an important part of it. Each evening, the three of us would watch bits of footage, sharing stories and memories that drew our family closer. Lesson learned. Love isn't only about being together in the present. It's also about understanding the past and respecting what once belonged to each of us. Through our struggles, Wendy and I learned to harmonize, letting the past be not a ghost, but a guiding light for the future. And that's the story, an emotional journey filled with highs and lows that any of us might face at least once in our lives. Love isn't always perfect, and it's rarely easy, but what matters is that we don't give up. We don't let go of each other, no matter how heavy the past may be. If you've ever felt torn between past and present, or found yourself lost in memories you can't forget, remember you're not alone. Today's story proves that with sincerity and patience, we can still build a brighter future. Thank you for watching. If you found this story meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss more genuine, thought-provoking videos from Reddit Echoes. And don't forget to leave a comment with your thoughts or even your own story, because every story has value and deserves to be heard. See you in the next video, where the voices of real life will always be echoed and celebrated.